Attention shoppers. Tonight on the checkout, all roads lead to roaming fees for mobile phone companies. Online dating and scammers. It's a perfect match. And the loving pet owner's guide to
fashions.
Australians are pretty good at travelling. We buy our guidebooks. Merci beaucoup. We get our shots. OK, do it. No, I didn't do it! We even wrap our bags in plastic to keep the contents crisp and fresh. But if there's one thing we're not good at, it's keeping track of our data usage while we're overseas. Tony Windsor has been stung, Communications Minister Malcolm Turnbull has been stung, and so has Stephen Yarwood, the Mayor of Adelaide. Maybe I shouldn't have ended on that one. Until quite recently...
Excuse me, sir, you need to switch that off.
Why? We couldn't afford a real plane. We're shooting this at the ABC.
I know, we're trying to record at the movies.
Oh. Sorry, Margaret. Sorry, David. Until quite recently, it was staggeringly easy to rack up a bill of thousands of dollars. Check this out. Just last year, the major telcos were charging insane base rates for their pay-as-you-go overseas data. This meant that just watching a 2-minute YouTube clip could break the bank. And this would lead to bill shock.
$1,800 bill.
A $5,000 bill.
To a phone bill of $25,000.
Which would lead to consumer outrage, which would eventually lead to the CEO of Optus, Kevin Russell, summarising the telco's billing practices with this business jargon.
It's just crap.
But now, things are finally changing. The big three telcos have all introduced new pricing schemes, each with their own degree of consumer friendliness.
Vous savez quelque chose à déclarer?
I have nothing to declare, except that even with these new plans, it can still be confusing working out how to keep data costs down while travelling. Oh, also, this sack of cane toads. Vodafone were the first to take the leap, proudly announcing that
Vodafone moves to end international roaming rort.
And I suppose we should be grateful to Vodafone, in the way that you'd be grateful to someone who'd been punching you in the face for a decade if they announced that they had moved to end the face-punching rort. So now all the major telcos have drastically dropped their roaming rates. Vodafone now has a flat rate of $1 per megabyte. At Optus, they've split the world into 2 different zones, and you'll pay 50 cents or $1 a megabyte, depending on where you find yourself. And over at Telstra, they've
cut the cost of roaming by up to 80%.
Which means now they're only 3 times more expensive than their nearest competitor. And it's not just about roaming rates. The telcos have introduced other ways of keeping your costs down while travelling. At Vodafone, they'll let you use your domestic plan overseas for just $5 a day. And at Optus, it's
a roaming revolution.
A roaming revolution. Man, the Arab Spring and now this, what a time to be alive. Optus have brought in Optus Travel, where for $10 a day in these countries, you get 50 megabytes of data plus unlimited calls and texts. Now, the difference between this plan and Vodafone's is that it's additional data on top of your already existing plan. Whereas Vodafone just lets you use the data you've already paid for. Oh, and it's $5 extra a day. Le taxi! Bonjour. Now, over at Telstra, they offer these data packs at a rate of 23 to 29 cents a megabyte. The important thing to remember about these packs, though, is that once you go over your allocation, you're back to $3 a megabyte, which means that it would cost you $31 to watch this. Yelling. Now, the telcos have to keep you updated with your data usage. But remember, this information could arrive up to 48 hours after you've used the data. And the telcos are trying to water down even this minor protection. Either way, while you can still face some bill shock, it's never been cheaper to ignore your holiday. Those goats. That is, if you're with one of the big 3 telcos. If you're not, then you really want to check your roaming rates. For example, over at Dodo, 1 megabyte of data will cost you $44.60. And at a MASIM, it's 24 cents per kilobyte, which means that your YouTube video going for 2 minutes just cost you $2.5 grand.
Arnack!
And that just cost you $60. Now, to be fair to a MASIM, they're not exactly being cagey about this. They told us...
Using data with us in another country is the most expensive thing you could ever do overseas. I strongly recommend not to.
Oh, Ben, this is so extravagant.
Not only that, I have a MASIM global roaming on. Yelling goat. Now, despite all these changes, Telco Consumer Group ACAN still reckon that your safest bet is switching off your data roaming and just using free Wi-Fi hotspots. Or, if you don't care about keeping your old number for calls and texts, then you're nearly always better off getting a local SIM. Alternatively, you can get a data-only SIM for your tablet for as little as $9 a month that comes with a gigabyte of international data. But remember, if you are going to travel with your phone, it's not just data costs, but call costs too. The important thing, though, is that you do something. Even with these new base rates, it's still fairly easy to rack up a decent bill if you haven't signed up for a data pack or a scheme like Vodafone's. In fact, just watching this informative segment in HD for some reason would cost you this much, which I think we can all agree would be very unfortunate as well as extremely ironic.
And don't forget,
You can always
Fight the bill.
But if you really want to save money while travelling overseas, just get one of these green screens. You can go anywhere you want. Let's do Hawaii next.
High Clor pool products
High Clor spa products.
for increasing
Increases
pH
with the same ingredients for just
$5.18 per kilo.
$19.90 per kilo
High Clor pH decreaser for pools.
for spas. Again, same ingredients.
But this time,
The spa one costs over 4 times more.
High Clor calcium increases. Still the same ingredients. $5.48 per kilo.
$19.90 per kilo. The active ingredient is the word spa.
High Clor.
Spa cleaners that take you to the cleaners.
Fashions! As a loving pet owner, I know that feathers and fur are so last season, so I like to keep up with the latest from Dogue and superstar designers like Meow and Barkley. Like this vintage style dress, which has none of the frou-frou. The frou-frou is bad, so its absence is good. Fashions! We all know dogs need perfume, but what kind of perfume do they need? Shasha needs female scent by Vetalogica. Gerald needs male scent. And Raincloud needs unisex scent because it's being raised genderless. And Bruce only uses Peaches and Cream by Pepper and Tanky. It's only about 5 times more expensive per mil than my perfume, but his sense of smell is probably about 5 times more sophisticated. So that seems fair. Fashion! Sometimes Jean-Paul needs to step out with his lady. When he does, he needs to be wearing his bird tuxedo. It's also a nappy, which means Jean-Paul doesn't have to miss out on that otherwise uniquely human indignity of shitting one's pants. Fashions! Also fashions! We all know that cats and pearl necklaces go together like dogs and G-strings. But what's the point in wearing a pearl necklace if your eyes are covered in awful tear marks? Because this is a legitimate problem, I use I Envy Tear Stain Remover Powder. It's the ultimate in tear stain removal systems, and you know it's safe because it was tested in a Siberian cattery. Fashions! It takes serious balls to strut, and if you don't have balls, you just have to fake it because nothing says fashions like a massive pair of prosthetic testicles. Balls are fashions! And why do we have to keep up with fashions? Because Hot Doll, the first and original doggy sex toy, is for trendy dogs only. Doggy style-ish. Available in black and white because we all have a preference. Happy birthday, darling.
The following tales of love gone wrong are based on real-life stories from Checkout Tip-Offs.
It's the game that's sweeping the nation. With more than 5 million members and 250 different sites, 70% of Australian singles are already trying online dating.
Welcome to online dating. Hello. And our first contestant is Michael. He enjoys cooking, technology, and right now he's lonely and vulnerable.
You said you weren't going.
Michael's signed up to a variety of different dating sites and made the mistake of using a real email address that could compromise his privacy.
I always date incognito.
And you've been talking to Mary on the biggest dating app in the world, Zoosk.
I'm a lady, classy and elegant, feminine and affectionate.
Is that right, Michael? Mary is 28, she's an Aquarius, and she lives in South Sydney. Except when she's a 32-year-old man from San Diego, California. Although she still starts her profile with...
I'm a lady, classy and elegant, feminine and affectionate.
Which is also what she does when she's called your_victory_ from Moscow, Russia.
They all seem pretty nice to me.
So let's meet him or her now. Hi, Mary.
Любима я, мені надо п'ятисек доларів віза.
So, Michael, it's possible that Mary could be a scammer from Eastern Europe. Up to 10% of profiles on dating sites can be fakes, so be wary if someone asks you for money, to visit you, or for a family emergency.
I wouldn't be putting up with that.
It's one of the fastest growing categories of scams and cost Australians more than $25 million in 2013.
Looks like he's rushing for the exit.
Our next contestant is Carl. Here's his story.
I signed up to Match.com and Zoosk and didn't have much luck at first. I sent emails, but...
no replies.
Then, just when I was about to give up, Claire Bear was everything I dreamed of. Fit, educated, beautiful, in my city. She was online. She wanted to chat. Of course, I signed up right away so I could see her messages. 6 months for $75. And then I waited. And waited.
Please, Craig, help me find my Claire Bear.
Well, Carl, good news. We've found your Claire Bear. Better known as Paraguayan Olympic javelin thrower and swimsuit model, Leren Franco.
She can throw, but is she a catch?
So she's not from Sydney then?
No, Carl, and as Leren said...
Sorry, they use my photo on lots of fake profiles. It's very annoying.
Yeah, it is.
Fake profiles often use pictures of models and actresses taken from the internet. So drag suspicious photos into Google image search to check. It's hard to prove that dating sites put fake profiles up themselves. But it's strange that when you're about to quit a dating site, fake profiles with beautiful photos tend to pop up.
That's it for you, Carl. Thank you.
Yoo-hoo, Carl! Why you have to leave so fast, eh?
When we contacted Zoosk, here's what they had to say about fake profiles.
We have an expert security team that is constantly reviewing and verifying profiles to ensure that there are no fake profiles on our site.
Convincing. Our next contestant is Terry. Terry likes movies, sports, and dislikes being made to fill out a psychological evaluation form, losing control of the data, and then being barred by eHarmony because he's separated. He was hoping to beat the odds using their scientific approach to matching. But don't worry, Terry, because if you are hoping to use eHarmony's personality test matching, this is your perfect match!
An old school love tester.
There's no peer-reviewed or independent research to suggest that personality tests or algorithms on any dating site work. There's about as much evidence for them as there is for this love tester.
I'd like to push her buttons.
I'd rather not go home with a robot.
Yeah, near.
Of course, all our guests receive a stylish set of his and hers bathrobes. So there you go, Terry. You'll get some good use out of one of those.
That's tonight's show, but before we go, don't be put off by online dating. It's successful for many people.
It worked for me. But don't give money to someone you don't know or haven't met. Keep your personal information private. And like we always say... Be careful! Derek, no!
But we're fully compatible.
Dear L'Oréal Paris, as an aeronautical engineer, I applaud the L'Oréal spirit of rigorous scientific research. So I was thrilled when your scientists topped mega volume collagen mascara with a statistically significant increase of lash impact in extra volume collagen mascara. And I couldn't resist the lure of 60% longer looking lashes and lash by lash intensity in telescopic carbon black mascara. But I wanted more. More! Volume million lashes, and its millionized lashes wasn't enough, even with excess volume. And despite the help of a fully qualified
lash architect with sculpting fibers from L'Oreal.
I'm sorry to tell your spokescientist Mila Jovovich, but
magnetic
lashes with high impact lash length and lash density at extreme lash intensity just aren't enough. I'll admit that in the depths of intense lash mania, I almost reached for Maybelline Illegal Lengths Mascara. To think I came this close to risking a criminal record. But then, my breath was taken away by your breathtaking L'Oréal Paris False Lash Telescopic Unlimited Length Mascara. My God, particle! Could it be that micro-stretch technology applied with a unique telescopic brush truly can make my lashes expand simultaneously with the boundaries of the known universe? My eyelashes and space-time together, eternally hurtling into the intense black void of terrifying non-existence? I'll admit I harbored doubts. Could infinitely long lashes pose a tripping hazard? Or exert a gravitational pull more than my eyelids could feasibly endure? But I was wrong to worry. The results are in, and according to my rigorous scientific research, the only thing that truly is unlimited is the ridiculous lengths of your marketing. QED Molly.
If Garbos were tech support.
Hey, excuse me, you missed my bin.
Sorry, what's your problem?
You missed my bin.
Hang on. What's your password?
Oh, I can't remember that. Is it password?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
No.
Pumpkin cheeks?
Oh, you got a security question? What's your first dog's mother's maiden name?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, forget it. Look, what's your address?
Right here.
Lady, what's your address?
29 Smith Street.
Let me just confirm that. Okay, so what's your problem?
You missed my bin.
Have you tried opening and closing it?
What does that have to do with...
Is it better now?
No.
Hold, please. Lady's got a problem with the bin.
Check the colour of the lid.
Thank you for holding. What colour's your lid?
Yellow.
Oh, that's the wrong version. You're going to have to upgrade this.
Why? What's the difference between this and all the other bins?
Hold, please. What did you get up to on the weekend?
March just went up the coast of Cheryl.
Yeah, nice one.
It was.
Good weather, eh? The difference is that the lid is yellow.
Can I speak to your manager? I'd like to make a complaint.
Hold, please. You available?
No.
No, he's busy with another customer. I'll just have to log your complaint. Your complaint is important to us. Somebody will get back to you in due course. Thank you for dumping with us. What do I do with this?
Bin it.
Hi, I'm behavioral economist Uwe Dulek. If I could say one thing, it's even though sometimes it's impossible to know if we are being ripped off, there are a few steps you can take to limit the risk. As consumers, most of us have to trust our mechanic. The mechanic not only provides a service, but they are also the expert on what is best for you and your car. We call this a credence good. A good or service where it is hard to assess whether the quality the expert tells us we need is actually delivered. And even if we can check the quality, we can't tell if it's the quality that we actually need. The services of financial advisors and doctors are other examples of this. Ask yourself, what's the most profitable thing for an expert to tell you? Do you think that changes what they are selling you or what repairs they recommend? Economists call this the expert's incentives. It doesn't mean you'll always be ripped off. It does mean it's prudent to take precautions. If the price you are told seems to be too good to be true, ask, is that definitely the total price? Or could there be other charges on top? The answer should give you a better information or put you in a stronger position if there's a dispute later. So here's a few tips for the mechanic. If you are able to determine that a particular repair will fix your car, ask for a fixed fee. A fixed fee means the repairer profits most when they do what is best and most cost-effective for your car. Don't feel ashamed to walk away and get another quote, whether it's a mechanic, a doctor or a lawyer. Ask your mechanic to put replaced parts into the boot of your car. That way, you make sure that he or she does not charge you for things that haven't been done. And tell them that you and your friends will come back in the future if you are happy. That should incentivize the mechanic to make sure your car is really fixed. Simple experiments show only about a third of people are driven by what is best for their customers. The rest are driven by other motives. On the upside, good experts are out there. If you find a good one, hold on to them.
Welcome to FUTube, one of the few places with a higher proportion of sad and unhappy people than online dating sites. Our first video this week is from a lovely bloke called Craig. I said a lovely bloke? F you. This Craig is a lovely bloke. Strangely enough, Craig is single, but someone's been leading him on.
Log on to eharmony.com.au and review all your matches for free.
Craig went all the way through eHarmony's registration process. As we said before, it starts with a very detailed personality test, which is always a good sign. After that, eHarmony takes you straight to a payment page, and it's got all sorts of subscription options, but no obvious way to
review all your matches for free.
That made Craig think,
where are my free matches? I just spent 3/4 of an hour doing some dodgy test with the motivating belief in my heart that I can see my flipping matches.
Now, Craig found that it is possible to navigate to the matches page, where, along with constant upselling lures, he found this.
Here are my matches, people. Unless I pay per month, this is all I get to see.
So this is what eHarmony means when they say you can review your matches for free. If you actually want to view someone's photo or know anything else about them, you've got to pay. Now, eHarmony says it's a privacy thing. They'd never reveal someone's private info unless they'd been paid first. Craig thinks that's dodgy, and we do too. If you want a relationship, it's important
you're genuine and honest about yourself.
Unlike eHarmony is with its customers, especially when it comes to automatically deducting money from their credit cards. Claire wasn't happy with eHarmony and decided to break it off with them after one subscription period, but discovered that they'd already
taken money out of my account for a further 3 months when I don't want to be part of your service anymore. And they basically said, bad luck, we're not giving you a refund.
eHarmony relies on disclosures like this when you sign up, but but they don't clearly warn you when you need it, before your credit card's auto-slugged with a renewal months later.
Just because eHarmony says in the bottom of an email that you can make changes to your subscription service in fine print, that doesn't provide customers with enough information to know that they are going to get money directly debited from their account.
If you're single, new ways of meeting people can be useful, but remember to use protection, like the choice list of tips for safe, successful online dating. And it can work. Remember the nice Craig? His story did have a happy ending. Have a nice outcome. The limited information that eHarmony gave him was enough for Craig to meet the girl of his dreams. And not only did Chloe and Craig go on a date, they're now in a virtual relationship. On now to a slightly less common problem, mechanics who get shirty if you take advantage of a Mention This website discount. It is a fairly specific phenomenon, limited actually just to Adam here. Now his mechanic's website said this, and Adam was worried that
in reality I would receive no such discount at all.
If he mentioned the website up front, he thought the mechanic might bump up their labour price to wipe out the discount. So cleverly, he didn't raise it until he got the bill. And the mechanic said,
"Trying to trick me?"
This prompted Adam to descend into, well, a psychotic spiral eerily reminiscent of Michael Douglas in Falling Down.
Just standing up for my rights. It's a super.
You mechanics like fixing things?
I'll give you something to fix.
Adam wants to know if he did anything wrong. Well, Adam, the Australian consumer law doesn't specifically address your actions. The criminal law does, and you're probably not 100% in the clear there. But businesses can be held to their representations and can't use unfair weasel words in the fine print to get out of them. So there you go, Adam. Please don't hurt us. On to other things that suck now, and Simon's not happy with Miele's High Clean dust bag for vacuum cleaners. It's a groundbreaking floor care innovation designed to be used once and thrown away. Simon doesn't like the self-closing dust trap because, well, because it works.
Try to empty mincemeat bin, and they deliberately put fronds of material in there to stop you from pulling stuff out.
I'm not sure about that, Simon. Those bags are easy to clean out. This one's full. Oh, got an empty one. Anyway, Simon has an ingenious homespun solution. He says that if you cut through the dust trap threads, you can clean out the bags and reuse them. And when Simon says, you've got to do it. And it works, I guess, although I now understand people who just spend $20 on clean, disposable bags. But product manufacturers also have something like that expert's incentive that Uwe Dulek talked about. It's good for business to have us buying proprietary accessories that need constant replacing. So remember, manufacturers aren't the only source of advice or ingenuity about their products. If issues like that matter to you, it's worth looking for alternative products or sources of information. Thank you to everyone who sent us YouTube videos and tip-offs. We're so grateful. We'd like to buy you all a present, like the $10 gift voucher that Maya sent to Evan Davis. It lets you reward yourself with all the best brands, though there are a few minor exceptions. Excludes the purchase of gift cards, iTunes gift cards, Microsoft Xbox Live cards, Sony PlayStation Network cards, Alan Pincus, Alberta Ferretti, American Apparel, Amore, Antonio Berardi, Anthea Crawford, Arthur Gallen AG, apparently the whole of Balmain, whatever a Benefit Brow Bar is, and Pretty Room Services, Ellery, Esprit, Feathers, Fizzler, Fleur Wood, Genuine Apple branded products and accessories, there is no way I can pronounce that one, Howard Showers, Hoss Intropia, Hugo Boss, not that $10 is really going to help there, RM Williams, Rod and Gun, Roland Murray, Rosenthal, Royal Dalton, neither Sass nor Bide, Scan Pan Classic, Sea Folly, Smartbox, SodaStream, maybe they should have just said what isn't excluded, Yves Saint Laurent, Zoo Shoes, hair and beauty salons, beauty rooms, nail bars and health and wellbeing services, optical services, photography studios, tailoring alterations, cafes and restaurants and sunglasses. Good night.